Welcome back to the Thought Bridge. I'm your host, Brianna, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about manifestation, but in more of the sense of just going for your goals. Whatever you're feeling called to at this moment, going for it and not letting the idea that maybe somebody else has done it better, done it before, already doing it stop you, because we're going to talk a little bit about what Darwin experienced, what Laberge has experienced, and the fact that people are aware that this is happening. And I believe that it has something to do with the universe having a bigger mission in order to reach more people. And you play a very important role in that. So, starting from the top. While reading Lucid Dreams, my very first episode, we are diving into this book and we're talking about Scott Sparrow, because we're talking about lucid dreaming and how this Laberge's book, Lucid Dreaming, The Power of Being Awake and Aware in Your Dreams. It's Dr. Stephen Laberge. He takes a very scientific, researched approach to lucid dreaming. Dr. Scott Sparrow, has a more spiritual approach to the lucid dreaming. So we dug into his website, his sources, papers that he's written, books that you can read, all of that. That's in the very first episode. So going deeper into this book, it made me think about things that I am witnessing in like a circle, basically. So maybe last summer, maybe a year or so ago, I was deep into a series called Open Minds on the streaming network Gaia. So in that conversation, Ben is using the Darwin Wallace story to talk about how major scientific discoveries can arise independently in different people at nearly the same time. So Laberge goes into that exact story so that he can open the doorway to a similar experience of himself, what happened with himself. And so the whole Darwin Wallace story goes that Wallace had been he had arrived at the theory of natural selection while Darwin had been developing similar ideas. The difference is, and I'm going to quote out of Laberge's book, priority is not always the most important issue. Darwin's work had the meticulous detail necessary to convince the scientific community. Wallace himself stated with astuteness, no less than generosity, in a subsequent letter to Darwin, quote, "My paper would never have convinced anybody or been noticed as more than ingenious speculation, whereas your book has revolutionized the study of natural history and carried away the best men of the present age." Laberge goes on to say, history shows that his work played no significant part in the scientific acceptance of the theory of evolution, and it is Darwin's work alone that we owe this revolution in our thinking. Now, Laberge goes in to say that he has dealt with this similar thing himself. He says, now I'm quoting from the book again, in the fall of 1980, an article entitled Insight into Lucid Dreams was called to his attention. The article, published in Nursing Mirror, a little-known British magazine, described work that was remarkably similar to Laberge's. The author was Keith Hearne. He was a talented British parapsychologist. He outlined a brief account of his PhD dissertation study carried out at Hull and Liverpool universities with the help of proficient lucid dreamer. Laberge later learned that Hearne's subject had been Alan Worsley, an extremely dedicated explorer of lucid dreams. During the nights of this study, Worsley had 8 lucid dreams, in each of which he marked the EOG with eye movement signals whenever he realized he was dreaming. I talked about that a little bit in the first episode, where their research is so particular, so that anyone that is under study for the lucid dreaming, they have a rapid eye movement exercise to let the lab know that they are in a lucid dream, that they are dreaming. He says that Hearne finished his dissertation 2 years prior to Laberge. He says, yet in spite of having made the most extensive review of the literature on lucid dreaming available in English, he had not so much as heard a rumor of Hearne and Worsley until after he completed his dissertation in 1980. Laberge at Stanford knew nothing of the English work until late 1980, and by then, their own more extensive studies had gone considerably beyond Hearne's earlier dissertation work and consequently, his pioneering research only confirmed what they already knew. He does give credit to Worsley being the first person, as far as he knows, to successfully send a deliberate message from the dream world, and that's regarding the rapid eye movement. What does this all mean for manifesting and doing what you want to do, even though there might already be somebody out there doing it? Maybe somebody out there knows a little bit more than you. The message is, who cares? Do it anyways. Because maybe you're the person who's going to deliver the message in a digestible way for the masses. I'm listening to this audiobook by Tara Mohr, Playing Big. Find your voice, your mission, your message. She definitely talks about the same thing. Not so much in the sense of the scientific independent study language, but in terms of it doesn't matter how many people have already done it. She goes deep into the inner critic versus the inner wisdom that you have within yourself, and everybody has an inner critic. I just think it's fascinating that here are 3 different people talking about a phenomena that happens. And if you think about it, there is how many billion people in the world? Like 8 billion people in the world. And I believe this happened between Michael Jackson and Prince. There are several interviews where Michael Jackson is expressing that he would make jokes that if he didn't record an idea quickly, Prince might get it. You can research that on your own. Michael Jackson would literally say if he didn't do it quickly, Prince might get it. Now that's not to say that it's one and done and there's only the possibility for one person to have this, and there's not. Like, they each had a profound impact on their fans and the world. One major factor in manifestation is that there's plenty to go around. This place where we are is abundant. You're not going to run out. Money is abundant. Water is abundant. Energy is abundant. Money is energy. Water is energy. All of this, it's abundant. We are abundance. I've heard authors say that they've had ideas for books and essays, and then years later they see that somebody has printed the same thing. Now, does that mean that you still can't print, write, publish, whatever it is because it's already out there? No, because you have a different voice than the person who already published it, and maybe how you say it and how you deliver your message is going to be a little bit more digestible. One major example, actually, while I'm listening to this audiobook, I saw a lot of work that I do with Lacy Phillips Manifestation. Her company is called To Be Magnetic, and they both talk about the inner wisdom, meeting your higher self, doing these meditation exercises. All of this to say, if you have an idea, if you feel inspired by something, if you feel called to do something, whether it's artwork, music, something career related, lifestyle related, publishing your work, starting a channel, starting a garden, literally anything. Who knows? It could be, even if you're impacting one person, think about that ripple effect that you're having in the world. And your purpose, how you affect those around you, it doesn't have to reach hundreds, thousands, millions of people. It could literally just be something in your community that maybe reaches 20 people. Think about the people in there. Think about those 20 people, 10 people. Their immediate family members are going to be affected by your ripple effect. And then their immediate family member, like, it's just going to go on and on. So even if you are having an effect on 5 people, 10 people, one person, you're changing the world. And what you want to do matters. It's important. You're being called to do something in this life, and it matters. Wallace and Darwin's example, maybe not the brightest outcome for Wallace, but that also goes to show why doing inner work matters. It makes me wonder about Wallace in the sense that, okay, when he passed and had his life review, did he fulfill his soul contract while he was down here, or maybe did he have to come back? And and do something again. And that's another thing that we can get into is soul contracts and what you're meant to do when you're down here and why it's so important that you do it. Because there's no guarantee that this is your last life in a human body. Granted, your greatest purpose is just being alive. You being here alive in your body is your purpose. Happiness is your purpose. That it's as simple as that. And because it's as simple as that, do what makes you happy. If that's writing a book, if that's, oh, my hands look crazy. I just thought it was pretty fascinating that there's a perfectly good example of two people having incredible ideas at the same time and both of them being important. And just because you're going for something doesn't mean it's going to be easy. That's where nervous system regulation work is going to be extremely helpful. Taking care of yourself, honoring your needs, taking breaks, having space. It's all important. And you're here to do a job, whatever it is, you know, and it's your job and your duty to share your gift with someone, one person. Like I said, that ripple effect. It doesn't matter who's already doing it. If it's already been done, your voice matters. That's where my thoughts led me tonight. And it really, I mean, yes, we were talking about going into some sources from the book and doing some deeper research, but that the story about Charles Darwin and Wallace, the fact that it's popped up in my life multiple times, and then the fact that I'm listening to this audiobook by Tara, and she's talking about your higher self, your future self, and I'm doing this manifesting work with Lacy Phillips in the To Be Magnetic community, and they talk about your higher self, your future self. Then we have Laberge studying lucid dreaming, and wouldn't you know it, Hearne, who has done this work also. Share your gift. It matters. It's important. I hope you take this into your day, into your week. Really think about what lights you up, what inspires you, what brings you joy, and sharing that with somebody. Share it. It matters. You matter. Your voice matters. Just do it. Thanks for listening. See y'all soon. Bye.